Hi, I'm Dan Bradbury, Chief Product Officer at UpGuard. Since my last update 3 months ago, we've added a lot of great new features to the platform. Today, I'll run through a few of these, including vendor comparison, vendor tiering, compliance reporting, and our new Zapier integration. I'll also tell you about some of the features we're working on at the moment. The new risk assessment workflow, a vendor onboarding questionnaire, bulk sending of questionnaires, adding fourth-party vendors, and a Slack connector. Let me start by running through a few of the features we've just released. I'll kick off with the vendor comparison. Our vendor risk product is primarily used for assessing individual vendors. It's great for doing point-in-time assessments as well as alerting you when new risks are identified so you can run an effective continuous monitoring program. There are times though where you want to do a side-by-side comparison across a group of vendors. A common example of this is when you're doing an RFP and want to compare the security profiles of the companies you're evaluating. The new vendor comparison feature is designed specifically for this type of side-by-side evaluation. You choose the vendors you're interested in, and we provide a single report that shows how they compare. You compare their scores, both at an overall level and for specific categories like website security. The report also includes a comparison of the risks each vendor has, making it easy to see where each vendor's critical risks lie. The results can be easily exported, making it straightforward to share them with others in your organization. To check it out, click the Compare Vendors button on the main vendors page. The next feature I'll talk about is vendor tiering. Most organizations rely on quite a large number of vendors, but the role each one plays and therefore the corresponding risk exposure can be quite different. Many of our customers have some kind of tiering system to capture this. Vendors get classified based on aspects of the relationship, like whether they have access to customer data or physical access to offices. And the way vendors are assessed is then based on the tier they belong to. The higher the tier, the more comprehensive the assessment. In the past, UpGuard has enabled you to capture vendor tiers through the use of custom labels. You create labels for each of your tiers and add the corresponding label to each vendor. It became clear though that deeper support would be helpful, which led us to adding native support for tiers within the platform. You can configure the number of tiers your organization uses and the names of these, and then easily assign your vendors to the appropriate tier. The tier that each vendor belongs to is prominently displayed throughout the platform, and you can filter the vendor list to see things like which of your Tier 1 vendors have not been assessed in the last 12 months, or how your Tier 2 vendors compare to each other. Understanding the risk exposure you have to each vendor is an essential part of running an effective vendor risk program, and the new tiering feature makes this simple. The third feature I want to talk about is called compliance reporting. Many organizations assess vendors against an industry standard framework, most commonly ISO 27001 and NIST CSF. They want to identify where vendors comply with these standards and where there are gaps. The UpGuard platform already included security questionnaires based on these standards, but didn't previously provide an easy way to measure a vendor's overall compliance. To address this, we've added compliance reporting to show how your vendors measure up against these standards. It includes not just risks identified through questionnaire responses, but also those identified through our automated scanning. It allows you to easily identify the sections of these standards the vendor does and does not comply with. We've started with ISO 27001 and NIST CSF and expect to add support for more standards over time. To try out the compliance reporting feature, navigate to the risk profile page for one of your vendors and hit the button that says View Compliance Report. Remember that to get the most out of this feature, you'll need to send the vendor one of our inbuilt questionnaires that we've mapped to the corresponding security standards. And the final new feature I want to mention today is our new Zapier integration. Improving the way you can integrate UpGuard with the rest of your apps is one of our top priorities. Over the last year, We've built out our API and our customers are using this to integrate with a huge variety of other apps. The next step in our integration journey is to provide native integrations, which make it even faster and easier to integrate. This quarter, we've launched a Zapier integration. If you're not familiar with Zapier, it's a product that lets you create workflows to integrate various web apps together. It supports over 3,000 apps, many of which have pre-configured workflows for common integration scenarios. Our Zapier integration means we now have drag and drop support for integrating with any of these 3,000 apps. We'd love you to try this out and give us your feedback. There are plenty more features we've released over the last quarter. To see them all, check out upguard.com/releases. I want to talk now about some of the features we're working on this quarter. There's quite a lot, so I'm going to pick out a few of my favorites. The one I'm probably most excited about is our new vendor risk assessment workflow. Point-in-time assessments are a core component of any vendor risk management program. This quarter, we're redesigning the risk assessment workflow to create a more intuitive and streamlined process. You'll be able to start a new assessment with the press of a button and be guided through each of the steps. First, you choose the evidence you're basing the assessment on, including questionnaires, automated scanning results, as well as any additional evidence like SOC 2 reports. This isn't limited to evidence you've collected yourself. Anything the vendor has proactively shared through our shared profile feature is available too, which can save you from having to send a questionnaire or request a report. Once you've collected the evidence, you can review the corresponding risks and decide which ones you want remediated and which you're happy to accept. The final step is capturing any notes or writing a comprehensive report and setting a date for when the vendor should be reassessed. It's easy to see when each vendor was last assessed to help prioritize where you should focus your time. You get an auditable record of each assessment, including a snapshot of the evidence and risk profile at the point in time you conducted it. And the workflow is flexible enough to support everything from a quick review of risks identified through automated scanning, through to sending detailed security questionnaires and writing a comprehensive report. The next feature I want to talk about is our vendor onboarding questionnaire. If you're part of a central cybersecurity team, you probably get requests from various other teams in your company to assess vendors they want to onboard. There's certain information you need in order to be able to conduct your assessment. Typically, things like what data the vendor will have access to and where the data will be stored. The vendor onboarding questionnaire provides an easy way for you to get this information. You configure the set of questions that need to be answered and send them to the relevant team whenever they want to onboard a new vendor. The answers will be stored against the vendor's profile and can be updated over time, maintaining a full version history. Another feature we're delivering this quarter is the ability to add fourth parties to your vendors. It's becoming increasingly common to keep track of the suppliers that your vendors rely on. These are your fourth party vendors, and whether you like it or not, you have a risk exposure to them. We can automatically detect some of these fourth parties by analysing information collected through our automated scanning. It's simply not possible to uncover every fourth party relationship in this way though. So we're adding the ability to manually add fourth parties to your vendors. These relationships may be disclosed to you in a variety of ways, including a SOC 2 report or a security questionnaire. However you find out about them, you'll be able to capture this information against the vendor's profile and build a comprehensive list of fourth parties. The next feature I want to mention briefly is bulk sending of questionnaires. This is something a lot of our customers have asked for. It's particularly useful when events like the recent SolarWinds breach occur and you want to send a questionnaire to all of your vendors to see which ones are exposed. Rather than sending each questionnaire individually, you'll soon be able to send them all at once. And the last feature I want to talk about is our new Slack connector. As I mentioned earlier, one of our priorities is to make it easier to integrate UpGuard into your broader application landscape. While the new Zapier integration provides access to over 3,000 apps, we're also building out native connectors to the apps our customers most commonly use. This quarter, we're adding a Slack connector, which will make it simple to post alerts from UpGuard into your Slack instance. Stay tuned for more native integrations. We're planning a Jira connector and a bunch more. So there's some of the highlights of what we're working on now. There's a lot more, and you can talk to our customer success team to hear about our full product roadmap. Let me finish with a quick recap. Over the last quarter, we've added a bunch of great new features, and today I talked about vendor comparison, vendor tiering, compliance reporting, and our new Zapier integration. As always, there's a lot we're working on this quarter. I ran through our new risk assessment workflow, the vendor onboarding questionnaire, adding fourth-party vendors, and a native Slack connector. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and please let us know if you have any questions.